Hi, I'm Mrs.D. Math. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about area of composite figures in 7th grade math. So let's go ahead and get started. This composite figure is shaped like a heart, but if I look here, it's actually going to break down into a square and two semicircles that are actually identical. So technically that would be one circle. So I have included here the formulas for a rectangle or parallelogram, which is also the formula for a square. So the area is going to be base times height, or in this case, side times side. And since this is 10 centimeters and I know it's a square, that's going to be 10 times 10. And 10 times 10 is 100. So there's the area of the square. Then I want to use the area of my circle to find that other portion. So that's going to be pi r squared, and r in this case is 5 squared. Now, normally when we're dealing with a semicircle, we need to divide our answer in half, but because we have two semicircles that form one circle, we're just going to use our formula pi r squared. I am going to have to multiply this out, so I know that pi is 3.14, and I know that 5 squared is 25, so we are going to multiply those two together. So the answer to this other part, the circle, is 78.5. So my last step is just to add these together, so I end up with 178.5 centimeters squared. So that is the area of the entire heart. The ice cream shop in town is designing a new sign. What is the area of the sign? So here's their sign. It looks like it's shaped like an ice cream cone. The area of a sign might be necessary for maybe adding paint to it. You can figure out how much paint you need. Maybe they're going to cover it with some sort of material, or maybe they just want to put some letters on it and they need to know how large to make the letters. So there are many reasons that you might need the area for something like this. Let's go ahead and put some shapes to this, and we can see here that we have a triangle and a half circle or a semicircle. So we have the triangle and the semicircle formulas up there, and the semicircle this time we are going to need to take half because we do only have half of that circle. So let's start with the triangle since that's what we're more familiar with. So triangle, we have 1/2 base times height. So the base here is 10. You can see this line going across here. Here's my right angle. So then the height is 16. We can go ahead and multiply those. I'm going to go ahead and take half of 16 because it is a larger number. It's a little bit easier to find half of. And then I'm also now multiplying 8 times 10, which is 80. So I made my math a little bit easier there. Now I'm going to find the area of this semicircle. So we're going to do the area of pi r squared, and then I'm also going to divide that by 2, or I'm going to take half. So the radius in this case is halfway across the circle, and in this case all the way across is 10, so halfway across would be 5 squared. I'm going to have to do a little bit of math. I know that 5 squared is 25, and because I'm dealing with an odd number, I'm going to have to multiply 3.14 times this number, radius squared, which is 25. I'm not going to half it because I don't want to multiply a decimal times a decimal right now. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 25 and multiply those together. So now I end up with 1/2 of 78.5. So now I've got to do a little bit of division because I need to find half of that 78.5. So now we've figured out pi times 25, which is the actual area of our circle. And then because this was a semicircle, we had to divide that 78.5 by 2. So we ended up with 39 and 25/100. And then now my last step is just going to be to add these two together. So I end up with 119 and 25/100 feet squared. there is the area of the ice cream shop's sign. This one's a little different because this one doesn't want us to find the total area of the entire shape. It wants us to find the area of the shaded region. So that's going to be the gray area that you see outside of that inner rectangle. So we do have a rectangle and a circle. And in this case, when I don't need the entire thing, I only need parts of it. That means I'm going to find the area of the circle, and then I'm going to find the area of the rectangle, and then I'm going to subtract those two numbers to get the area of just the shaded region. So we're going to start with the circle because it is larger, and that way we have the larger number on top when we go to subtract at the end. So the area of our circle is pi r squared. Now the r in this case is my radius, and this circle actually gives me the diameter, which is 12. The diameter is 2 times the length of the radius, since the radius is only halfway across, so that means the radius in this case is 6 squared. And now I need to go ahead and multiply that out. So pi is 3.14 times, I know 6 squared is 36. Okay, so now I can see that the area of the circle is 113 400ths. And now we're going to find the area of the rectangle. So the area of the rectangle is just, again, base times height. Now that's going to be based on this right angle. So the base is 10, and then the height is this 5 inches. And I know 10 times 5 is 50. So then my last step is just to take both of those numbers. So I have the area of the circle and the area of the rectangle, and I'm going to subtract, and the difference is going to be the shaded region. So when I subtract this, I get 63 400ths inches squared. So that is just the area of the shaded region. For this last example, we have Jake's parents, and they want to plant grass around their above ground pool. So the pool looks like it's in the middle of the yard, and we want to figure out how much grass they're going to need in order to plant in that area around the pool. So that would be the green area. So we just need to label everything so that we have our distances, and we have to find the area of the rectangle, the area of the circle, and then subtract those to find what amount of grass that they need to order. We have our area formulas up at the top. We want to start with the area of the rectangle, which is base times height. And I can clearly see the rectangle is labeled on the outside, so we have 18 times 24. So for this first problem, we're going to have to do a little bit of math. So I'm going to do 24 times 18. So the area of the rectangle is 432. Then we need to find the area of the circle. So the area of the circle is going to be pi r squared. In this case, r is our radius, which is half the distance of the diameter. So I need half of that 16, which is 8 squared. I do know that 8 squared is 64, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of math for this one as well. We're going to multiply 3.14 times 64. And I can see that the pool is 200.96 as far as the area goes. And now my last step, I just need to figure out the difference between those two, because the grass is not going to be where the pool is, so I'm going to have to subtract these two. So I'm going to add 2 zeros onto here because I am going to have to borrow. So it comes out to 231.400 feet squared. This would be a question if you had multiple choice. They may not include the decimals, so you would just pick the answer choice that is closest. In this case, the exact answer is 231 400 feet squared. That's how much grass they need. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mrs. D Math, and this has been Area of Composite Figures in 7th grade math. Have a great day. Bye.